6 activities, and we're going to have police and volunteers. The first one is called the Lawn Jeopardy. The next one Kay's going to help us with, which is asking for help. And Heidi's going to help us with that. What that is we're going to have somebody come forward and roll some dice, and depending on what they roll, that's what you're going to go through the audience and meet every young person who's here and practice letting them ask you for help. Okay. So we're going to cue them. Like, say, I found this wallet. So, Heidi, you want to role play with me? I'll be the police.
I found this wallet.
Really? Where did you find it?
Over there.
Okay. When did it happen?
A little bit that way.
Okay. Well, let's open it up and see who this belongs to, and we'll get it back to me. Now, very simple. For some people,
see, as soon as you get out of the range of the.
Oh yeah. That's all there is to it. So basically, we're going to have somebody up there roll.
Come over here. Let's see what happens when we're here.
Picture over there. And then we'll call out what is the correct question.
Test. Here, but this is what I recommend. This is what I really recommend. Because they have volunteers working as well, I would put this on
The
here.
next one is called Tools of the Police, and I need 2 officers to
I wouldn't put this on here. Okay, let's try this one. Is this doing anything? They came and tested it, and Stephen Davis came. He's like the lead tech. He told me it was working, and he ran around and did everything. So that one works fine. There's no. Oh, I have a great idea. So the volunteers are all going to be doing it. So why don't we just give the lavalier and make them stand over there and put the lights in the She can just hold on to this, and they're all going to be out front. And so, do you think that will work?
So would you guys like to move that one? And then would you like to talk about how yours is different?
Sure, and I have 2 more people.
Okay, great.
Yeah, she's actually got a simulation that I mentioned.
Well, you would only talk about how it's different, because we don't want to go all the way through.
Sure. As long as they're not back here or on this side, this
Now,
should
one
work
thing about
fine.
this
Thing.
that we do.
Okay, let's tell them that. And if you hear the slightest hint, just take it off. Sit right up front, so it's like the least amount of distraction.
That's perfect. So if you guys want to do that.
Sure.
Okay. So we're going to sit down the name. So
No. Hello? Unless somebody's answering your phone. Hello? Is anyone going to be able to come? No. You said no one's going to be able to come?
And who will you be doing that?
Probably correct.
Okay.
Now the next one is called. Oh yeah, Pamela.
Is the 360 recording? Yes, it is. It has to be recorded.
Or uniform.
It is a large group.
And also, she's going to go out with the mic and ask. They will get a chance. The next activity is called Mistaken Identity, and it's about a young guy who's sitting in the bus working his own business. And the police think he's a crime, and they think he's armed. So they get out of their cars and they fire us procedure. So we're going to ask for all the audience, and we need 2 officers to reenact the action. However you do it, whatever you say, whatever you do, we model the relationship partners. I don't know if you do that. And we have, of course, who's working on that? Heidi's going to explain. She's going to set up this activity. She's going to explain why we're using an orange gun, why we're using a rubber gun, and the fact that you can never take your guns out. Not to show, not even for bullets. Heidi will mention that.
All right.
So I do need 2 officers who would like to do the reenactment.
We'll just fill in as we go along.
That would definitely help. Are they showing video? Yes.
Ready. Now, Chief, I would like
How about we turn the volume up when they're going to show the video?
if you would leave the safety promise, and what it is the students, this will be up on the screen, and Michelle will tell them to erase the right, and then you say this with them, I promise to never, and then they'll say, I promise to never. Put my hand in my pocket, and I'm going to grab your purse.
But use
When I
that.
need
Okay,
police,
I can
unless they tell me to. So
have them use that. Yeah.
Okay.
It's going to be too different. But the only thing is that people are going to have
And then the last activity of the night is informal. And what we do is we position you all in a different part of the room. And anybody who wants to could try on headsets.
Okay.
And they can try on in front of the behind, they can try on
I just tell them if it's being video recorded, so we expect that people speak a little bit louder. I guess that's.
So the reason we make it free form is that people who want to leave can leave, and people who want to linger will linger, and everybody who gets.
I hope I understand. Thank you.
Is
that what it's called, right? That's called I understand. Okay. Thank you. That's what I was saying. Is it supposed to be rude to say that to somebody? Oh, I'm supposed to pretend I look beautiful. I already told you many times that you do. Okay. I'm gonna get out of the way because they have a system and they don't like the music. So I'm just gonna let them work their magic.
And like as a follow-up, just to kind of bring this full circle, is we're hoping to bring Emily up, working with the departments to bring Emily back up to.
It's not even on.
On.
It is something totally different. It is totally. Oh. It is actually these ones.
I'm the so I think wrote experiential learning experience for these ones that are hard. Try different activities and each one show up. And then it's not even on. So I'm pretty sure that it's not.
Any access to any name tags by any chance?
Yes.
Yeah. Sorry folks, we're having a little bit of a technical problem with the mics. We will just start shortly. We appreciate your patience. As you all know, technology is our good friend, but sometimes not so much. So we appreciate your patience again. Thank you. See? That has nothing to do with anything.
It's not even plugged in right now.
Yep. Oh.
But she's got video to show.
And then Heidi will be doing her mistaken identity and will be our.
Too much.
And then Chief Mallard.
Too many things are plugged in.
What are we going to do when she wants to show the video?
Turn the mics off. Turn the video on. I don't.
So you guys feel confident? And Tanya, you.
That's it.
I don't know. We got to the end of the.
I'm pretty sure that's it.
That's right. I don't have any questions.
Because those things are not even on at this point, and the system is shut down. The only thing that's actually plugged into anything is this.
Okay, so when play the video, plug it back in, take the plug out.
Yeah. It's going up. It's going up. Patient, my dear friend. Okay, let's hit it. We've never had this issue. I have run so many events here, and I have not had this issue even once.
So what happens when you try to take it?
Huh? I have a birthday cake in the car that I'm hoping the dog is not eating.
It's hard to hold the mic and talk loud enough and then show your stuff.
All right. Windows. Okay. Okay. Duplicate.
It's a building.
It's a What was worse is that while you were calling me, Gretchen said the Reichard building is closed. They said they didn't have a.
Couple minutes.
Well, if the microphones don't work, most of us can adjust to be loud talkers.
Okay, we will just do without. Okay. She just has to stay on that side. Just let's. Okay. This is it. And she just has to stay on that side. That's all.
Usually the time with these, the free agencies.
Stay in the front. We'll just keep listening. No, we will. Either we can do a choppy job, or we can do. Emily, what would you prefer? There is a little bit of feedback. You will just have to stay on this side, because as soon as you start coming here, it starts going crazy. Or we can just completely get away with it.
Get rid of
it. Yeah. Let's get rid of it. Okay.
Thank you so much, because I'm sensitive to it myself, and I think my audience would be too.
Yes. Okay. So.
Our trooper's not here yet.
All right, I'm so appreciative of your patience with this. I apologize.
No problem.
All right, well, Janice is here, and she will be right up front if you need anything at all.
Okay.
And hopefully we'll not have any more tech problems.
Thanks so much. I appreciate you coming by.
Okay.
Enjoy the rest of your evening.
Do you need the chair, or would you like me to move it out of
I won't ever sit down. You can move it.
No, yeah, we just, Emily said that it's very, and she was sensitive.
You know who the trooper was?
Mine's are actually not sorry. Those are just one
That's exactly how I said trooper.
Stay dry today?
Do you want to go ahead and do the introduction?
Sure.
Okay. Do you want a mic? We do have a mic that works. Where'd it go?
think they turned them all off.
All off? Oh, no, that's not what I meant. I have to have the handheld.
Space without walls and stuff.
That's right. Some hours. Like yours.
Sorry about that. I misunderstood. I have to have a mic. I don't have the projection or the strength. It's going to be fun. Thank you for your patience. We'll be starting in a minute.
Well, good evening, everyone. We're going to go ahead and get started. Tonight we have Emily Eyal from Los Angeles County, and she has been working with police officers in LA, training them how to interact appropriately with people with disabilities. And this presentation tonight is called Be Safe, and it's how to have students and young people and people with disabilities learn what to do when there's a police encounter so that it turns out safely and everyone can be safe. So Emily has first-hand experience with autism. She has a son who's on the spectrum, and she has created this program from her heart. So please welcome Emily Eyal.
Thank you. Thank you. It's great to be here. I appreciate y'all coming out tonight. We have a few more officers have just come in, and we'll be talking about that in a minute. But my clicker doesn't work anymore. I want to thank the Autism Society of Alaska and the University of Alaska Fairbanks for bringing me here tonight, so we could be here for this wonderful event, and everybody else who is helping to host, and the families who have come out tonight in the rain. I hope that's not a problem for you, and the teachers who are in the audience, and family members, and of course people with autism and other disabilities who are here tonight to learn how to interact safely with the police. And we want to welcome and thank our police partners. And if you wouldn't mind standing up and waving when we say your name, we have Lieutenant Eric Jukes from the Fairbanks Police Department. Here he is. Sergeant Kurt Lockwood from Fairbanks Police Department. Are you here? There he is.
That's me.
Officer Dave Duncan, Fairbanks Police Department.
Right here.
Welcome. Chief Keith Meller of the University of Alaska Fairbanks. Officer Steve Getz, University of Alaska Fairbanks. And is our trooper here yet?
We'll see.
Okay. Well,
They're rather busy out of town. From this
Yeah.
the radio traffic, they will be tied up.
all right. So yes, let's have a round of applause. And the exciting part about this evening is you'll all get to spend some time with these officers, learning some safety skills and having some fun. If any of you like to use social media, here are our hashtags, because this is a modern presentation. Also, if you would like to Be Safe the movie on Facebook, you can learn more about our project and tell your friends. So there are 3 parts of our plan for this evening. We're going to talk about some important things you need to know about safety. We're going to do our interactive screening of the movie. We're going to see episodes of our movie called Be Safe the Movie, and then we're going to try fun activities out of the Be Safe curriculum. And I'll be telling you the story about that, but these are all materials that families and teachers can use to help our young people learn to be safe. And then we'll have a little survey to see what you think and what we can do to do a good job for you. So we're going to start with important things to know about safety. And maybe everybody in this room is aware of the need to teach safety skills to people with autism and other disabilities because of the stories we're seeing in the news where people with disabilities are getting hurt when they interact with the police sometimes. Sometimes they get tasered or they get shot, and that's definitely a problem that we want to avoid. And in fact, people with autism have 7 times greater chance of meeting the police than someone that doesn't have autism. Because of different features of the disorder, they have a greater risk. And we know that there's more people with autism than ever before, and those people with autism are growing up. 50,000 young people with autism are turning 18 every year and taking their place in the community. So we're talking about a great need and a very important one. So the goal of tonight and the goal of Be Safe is to promote mutual understanding, to help the police understand people with autism and other disabilities, and help people with autism and other disabilities be comfortable and safe around the police. And this is a picture of my son Tom. He's 30 years old now, and he has autism. And there he is in a picture graduating from college, and he is an accountant. He lives in his own apartment, he drives a car, and he's even had a girlfriend. So he's reached most of his life goals. So we worked very hard for that. But when we were working hard for that, I realized one thing. It could all be undone in a single moment of an unsafe encounter with the police. And that was my greatest fear. So I thought, what am I going to do about that? So one thing I did is I started working in my community to help the police understand people with disabilities. We started a registry. We had an access hour at the local safety fair that when all the police were there with all their equipment and everything, we asked our city, can we open the safety fair 1 hour early so that people with disabilities can come and have quality time with our local first responders? And they said yes, and we've been doing it for 10 years, and that costs $0, but it's a safety solution that many communities can use. What I realized is there's 2 sides to the safety equation. We can't expect the police to be experts on every topic, and we can't leave all the responsibility for things to go well to the police. And you guys are probably relieved to hear me say that, Because the public does think the police know everything and they're experts on every topic, but that's just not true. How could they be? None of us are experts on everything. So part of the safety equation is helping our young people understand what the police expect and then be safe around the police. I have some experience working with the police. I have trained almost 4,000 LAPD so far out of 9,000. So is this a job that is never going to be done? There's 9,000 LAPD officers, and I've been training them since 2007, and I'm at about 4,000. And what I learned from them was that there's certain skills our people need to have. Like, for example, one officer said to me, if someone with autism runs, we have to chase them just like anybody else. Whether we know they have autism or not, if they run, we have to chase. If they fight with us, we have to fight back. So that's when listening to the police, I learned certain things we need to be teaching our young people. I was asked to help write the training for the state of California for a 2-hour training video for the police, and I learned more things that the police want and need our young people to do to be safe. So that's why I created Be Safe the movie. Identifying certain skills that everybody needs to know, and then using video modeling to teach those skills. One thing I learned a long time ago is talking isn't teaching. People on the spectrum aren't going to learn just because we tell them something. They learn the way they learn, so we have to teach the way they learn. Doesn't that make sense? But that's not what we've been doing all these years. No tool existed to teach safety skills using video modeling, so I created it myself. I got my master's in special ed and was teaching special educators and learned about how wonderful video modeling is, and that's why I chose that format. And then, because I teach teachers, I could hear them saying to me, oh, we love your movie, but we want more materials. So I wrote a 300-page curriculum, that goes along with the movie. So to give enough materials for teachers to reach everybody with all cognitive abilities, of all language levels, and all ages. Because everybody needs to learn these things, and everybody can if we teach them and use a variety of materials. So one thing really exciting about Be Safe the movie, it was made by and for people with disabilities like autism. And that's a picture of Joey Travolta. He's John Travolta's brother. And he lives in Hollywood, and I live near Hollywood too. And he started a school called Inclusion Films. And at Inclusion Films, he teaches young adults with disabilities how to have a job in Hollywood. So this young guy on the camera here, that's a man with autism who's learning to be a camera operator, so later he could get a job in Hollywood. And that's what Inclusion Films is all about. And so who's the perfect person to make my movie? Well, it would be Joey Travolta and Inclusion Films, because this is a movie for young adults with disabilities made by them. They're also my actors. 90% of the people in the movie who are actors are people with disabilities. And it was also, so that's kind of nice for the audience to see people like themselves doing ordinary things and having realistic conversations. So there's that authenticity to the movie. And I was very lucky to have real police in my movie. They're not actors. They're real police doing what they do and saying what they say. Now, the police in my movies do things a certain way, and maybe here in Fairbanks, the police do it a little bit differently. So part of our job in learning to be safe is finding out how they do things around here. And later, when we do some activities with the police, they're going to tell us if they do things differently, or they're going to show us if they do things differently from the movie. But it's tremendously authentic to have real people with disabilities interacting with real police in our film. Like, who likes videos? Raise your hand if you like videos, if you like to watch videos. Who doesn't like videos, right? So it's an ideal teaching tool. And watching a video like Be Safe the movie can help people feel more prepared when they meet the police, be more comfortable, be less afraid, and less anxious. And that's a winning situation right there. Besides building skills, there's that comfort level that's so important. And the good news from the research says that anyone can benefit from video modeling. Everyone can learn from video modeling across the spectrum, across all ages. So that's really exciting and a really great tool. And there's 7 skills we're going to teach in the movie Be Safe. The first one is follow the law to be safe. And next, Stay where you are when you meet the police. Keep your hands to yourself when you meet the police. Don't touch their stuff. And each of these lessons is based on something real that happened to somebody that I know. Like I know about a guy who loved motorcycles, and when the police were in a restaurant having lunch, this guy with autism got up on their motorcycle, and when the police told him to get down, he wouldn't. He did not get down, so that didn't go well. So we have a scene in Be Safe the movie that's keep your hands to yourself and don't touch their stuff. The next lesson, when the police tell you to do something, just do it. And we're going to show what that looks like. Tell the police about your disability. And we came up with this episode of the movie when the police have said to me, the more information we have about a person, the better we can do our job. And a lot of times people are not teaching their children about their own disability, how it affects them, or the help they need. And I found that that was one of the most important things that we are overlooking as parents, is not preparing our children to understand themselves and ask for the kind of help they need. But it can make all the difference in the world. The next one is remain silent if arrested and ask for a lawyer. This episode exists because of a friend of mine with autism who was 14 years old and really didn't understand his rights. And when the police asked him questions, he told them everything and more that he should have told them and went to jail. 14 years old, handcuffs, police car, jail, because he didn't understand. So when it's hard to teach someone what to judge, what to tell and not tell, it's better to teach them a rule, and the rule is ask for a lawyer. And sometimes the police think, well, I don't like her teaching that. But they also tell their own families, if anything happens, ask for a lawyer and say nothing. So if it's good enough for the family members of the police, it's good enough for us, isn't it? That's why we're going to follow that rule. And the last one is tell where you are when you call 911. And the last episode of Be Safe is a 911 scene with an ambulance. So it shows a 911 call, and it shows somebody going in an ambulance. And the reason it's so important to teach our people to first think about where you are when you call 911 is because of cell phones. In the old days when we had landlines, your address pops up on the screen when you call from a landline. But now when you call from a cell phone, the police have no idea where you are. And so they want to send help to where you are, so the first thing to tell is where you are. So it all makes sense, doesn't it? So today we're going to have time to see the first episode of Be Safe about laws and play a game called The Law and Me Jeopardy. We're going to see the second episode, and we're going to play a game called Asking for Help. We're going to see the third episode, and some of our officers are going to model their uniforms and tell you about all their equipment and even show you how the taser works. But they're not going to shoot anybody with the taser, but they're going to show you how it works. The fourth episode, we're going to see a case of a mistaken identity in an arrest situation, and somebody from the audience is going to get to pretend to be the guy in the movie, and some of our officers are going to reenact that scene with you. And then we're going to do a safety promise, and our last activity, you see that little symbol up there? That's a little hint what our last activity is. Anybody who wants to will get to try on handcuffs tonight. So it's a great sensory experience. It's a great opportunity. Many people are curious, and this, so we're going to have some fun tonight, aren't we? Doesn't that sound like a good time? And here we have all our officers here to do it with us, which is awesome. So let's begin by watching our first episode. No sound? Fortunately, I have a tech person here. Aha, just some volume. It's not playing right now, so you have to push the play button. More volume.
Show you how to be safe when interacting with police officers.
Yes, please.
We'll discuss important information that helps you to be safe. How do the police help you? What should you do if you get arrested? We'll answer these questions and more as we show you how to be safe.
Well, that was fun. I'm
Sorry, guys.
Okay.
Okay, let's try it again.
Okay, everyone prepared?
Hopefully it's all right. That's about right normally.
We'll start this way.
Okay. We tested all this before.
Also cover
Sometimes tech is not your friend.
Good day with tech.
It's coming up now.
be safe. Now let's get started.
That's a little louder. It's good?
A little bit more.
A little more.
Barely hear it.
They can barely hear it. Does that sound good? Yeah.
Okay, now the house lights.
Let's learn about laws. Do you know what a law is? A law is a rule that keeps people safe. We all follow safety laws every day, maybe without even realizing it. Let's look at some examples. What do you do when you're walking and the don't walk signal comes on? The rule is stop when the sign says don't walk. Another rule is wait for the walk signal to cross the street. Why do we follow rules? To be safe. Is it dangerous to go in the street when the don't walk signal is on? Yes. Crossing the street without a walk sign can be very dangerous. Something bad can happen. This is why we follow laws, to be safe. Who else is safe if you stay out of the road when the don't walk sign comes on? Drivers and other pedestrians. Doing safe things help other people stay safe too. Breaking the law can be dangerous. People can get hurt. So remember, a law is a rule that keeps us safe. Be sure you follow the law to be safe and keep everyone else safe too. Let's look at another example. When a driver is driving and a fire truck comes up behind, what should the driver do? The driver pulls over to the side of the road to let the fire truck pass by. Why do drivers pull over when an emergency vehicle passes by? It's the law, and it helps people be safe. What could happen when people don't follow this law? Breaking the law can be dangerous. People can get hurt. Be sure you follow the law to be safe and to keep others safe too. Let's think about one more safety law. Here's a hint about one safety law that everyone needs to follow. What safety law does this make you think of? Everyone knows about the laws against texting while driving. Why do people follow the no texting while driving law? To keep others safe. What can happen when people don't follow these laws? They could get a ticket, an accident could happen, or someone could get hurt. So remember, a law is a rule that keeps people safe. We all follow many laws every day. Laws protect us and others. Breaking the law may hurt you or someone else. When someone breaks the law, it is a crime. There are consequences if you are caught breaking the law. Breaking the law can get you into trouble. Be sure you follow the law to keep yourself safe, other people safe, and stay out of trouble. Talk to your parents, teachers, or police officers about other laws that you need to follow to stay safe. Some people have the job of
So that's our first episode of Be Safe. What do you think? Is that helpful?
Very good.
Tori Fritz, our narrator, was one of 70 people who auditioned for the part of the narrator, and she was the last person to come in. Are those lights going to come back, maybe? Yeah? Yes, please. And when she was reading her lines, I said, Tori, why does it sound like you totally understand what you're talking about? She says, oh, I have a brother with Down syndrome, and I just pictured myself talking to him about these things, and so that's why she's very natural. So you notice that we had a lot of vocabulary in our movie, and I have a belief. How can we expect our young people to be safe if they don't have an active safety vocabulary? So we use Be Safe to introduce the terms, to show them in context. We repeat the meanings. And in the curriculum, we build on that so that everybody has that active safety vocabulary. And we do it different ways. So some people maybe are only going to be working at the word and picture level, and other people can use the definitions that we give and give their own examples. But we want people to relate to the meaning of these words so that they understand them and can use them. So now we have our first activity, which is called the Law and Me Jeopardy. And I need 2 people who think they know a lot about the law to be our volunteers to play the game. 2 people who know a lot about the law. Anybody want to play? Let's see.
I'll play.
You'll play? Okay, Maggie's going to play. Who else wants to play with Maggie? Anyone else want to play? You want to play, Freddie? Okay, great. Come on up and we'll get started. I'll tell you how the game works in 1 second. So these are the answers to our questions in the Law and Me Jeopardy. So we'll read them together. We have age of majority, graffiti crimes, register for military service, the right to remain silent, binding contract, jury duty, hate crime, unauthorized possession, and 0.01%. And the idea behind the Law and Me Jeopardy is that when people turn 18, certain laws apply to them, and they need to know what they are, or else that's where you get into trouble because you don't know what the laws are and you don't know what they mean. But there are other laws that apply to everybody, no matter what age you are. So we're going to be talking about laws that apply when you turn 18, and all my questions, the answers are there. So what we're going to do is we have Freddie and Maggie, and what you're going to do when I read the question, you're going to ring in when you think you know the answer, okay? So here's my first question. Spray painting on someone else's property can result in fines up to $50,000. Yes?
It's a graffiti crime.
Is it graffiti crime? Is she right?
Yeah.
Yeah, she sure is. Graffiti crime is the right answer. The next question. If you are arrested for a crime, you do not have to talk about what happened with the police. Here are the possible answers. You think you know what it is, Freddie? You don't have to talk to the police. Yes?
Right to remain silent.
Is it the right to remain silent?
Yes.
It sure is. Good job, Freddie. The next question. Having someone else's prescription medication. Here are the possible answers. Freddie.
Unauthorized possession.
Is it unauthorized possession? It sure is. Freddie's on a roll. Here's the next one. All U.S. male citizens must register with the Selective Service within 30 days of their 18th birthday, even if they have a disability. Yes.
The register for military service.
Register for military service? You are correct. It's a tie score. We'll see who's going to pull ahead. Any registered voter can be called to the service of the court. Freddie. Jury duty is correct. Good job. From the age of 18, you are responsible for any agreement you sign. Here are the choices. I think Freddie was first.
Age of majority.
Age of majority? I don't think so. Now it's Maggie's turn. What do you think it is?
Binding contract.
Binding contract is correct. All right. Freddie, get ready because I think you know the answer to the next one. The time of life when a person is no longer considered a child. Yes.
Age of majority.
Age of majority is correct. Okay, we have one more. Freddie's winning this game. The next question. Targeting a person because they belong to a particular social group. Freddie?
Hate crime.
Hate crime it is. Excellent job. Thank you so much for playing. So, does anyone know what the question is for 0.01%? Yes, Maggie.
The alcohol level?
The alcohol level in someone under the age of 21 should be considered intoxicated driver. So, no alcohol, in other words. So, there's a wonderful tool from the California Bar, and there's also a website. Heidi, what's the name of your website?
The Alaska Bar.
The Alaska Bar Association. And what they do is they list all the laws that apply once you turn 18. And my idea is we need to be teaching this from the time children are 12, because they're going to need lots of time to understand all the laws. The California version of it is a little more engaging looking. They have drawings and other interesting things in it. The Alaska version is just kind of plain text, but they say the same thing. But it talks about laws that apply for using the internet, stalking and property, contracts, all the things that people need to understand. Because one thing I learned from talking to the police is that the law applies to everyone the same, whether or not you have a disability. Right? Hard to believe, but it's true. So people who have a disability can be arrested for breaking the law, just like anybody else. So it's really important to take the time to teach people how to follow the law and what the laws are. All right, now we're going to see episode 2, and it's called Law Enforcement Officers Help Us to Be Safe. And it shows us how that when the police give us instructions, we follow them right away. And we're going to see innocent mistake where 2 young people take a shopping cart from a store.
Protecting others and making sure people follow the laws. These are law enforcement professionals, or peace officers. Police, sheriff, highway patrol, and marshals are all peace officers. To keep things simple, I'm going to use the word police to refer to all peace officers. The police help us be safe in the community. You may see the police on patrol in the community. They keep the peace and help people. When the police are called, they respond quickly. They have different ways to get around. The police are ready to help in emergencies. They can help if someone is lost. They can help find a missing person, and they can rescue someone who is in danger. The police also know what to do if a law is broken. You may see the police give a ticket to someone who has broken the law. The police also know what to do when a crime happens. They try to catch the criminal as quickly as possible. Sometimes the police need to arrest someone who has committed a very serious crime. The police take these criminals to jail. Wherever you see the police, remember their job is to help and protect people like me and you, and to keep our neighborhood safe. When the police are doing their job, they sometimes tell people what to do. Following directions means doing what you are told to do. When the police give us directions, we follow them right away. We follow all directions from the police to help us be safe. The police may use hand gestures, words, or signals to tell us what to do. Let's look at an example. Traffic officers are police officers that help direct traffic. What does a driver do when a traffic officer tells him to stop? The driver stops. When a traffic officer tells a driver to do something, the driver needs to do it. The direction could be stop, go, turn, or slow down. Drivers follow directions from a traffic officer right away. There is no waiting when you get directions from the police. Whatever the police tell you to do, you do it right away. Have you heard the expression, just do it? Doing what the police tell you to do will help keep you safe. What kind of directions do the police give? The police may tell you to go or stop. Those are 2 of the most important directions for you to follow right away. The police might tell you to put your hands in the air. If you ever hear the police say that, just do it. Now, Let's look at a real-life situation about an innocent mistake.
Afternoon, guys. What are your names?
Jerry Marco.
Monica Wilson.
You guys want to tell me where you got your shopping cart?
We got it from the store parking lot.
You do know it's against the law to take that, right?
We want to borrow it, not keep it. Is that against the law?
Well, the shopping cart belongs to the grocery store. You take something that doesn't belong to you, it's the same as stealing.
We're sorry, we didn't mean to steal it.
I'll tell you what. I don't think you knew what you're doing was wrong, so we'll overlook it today. But I'm going to need you to take that right back where you got it, okay? Let's go ahead and get going. We're going to watch you.
All right.
Okay, thank you.
Jerry and Monica handled the situation very well. They honestly didn't know that taking the shopping cart was stealing. The officers realized that this was an honest mistake, and they let Jerry and Monica go without giving them a ticket or arresting them. Let's take a closer look at what happened. First of all, notice how Jerry and Monica stopped walking when they saw the police. They did not try to run away when the police car came near. It is extremely important that you never run from the police. If you run, the police will have to chase you. That is a situation you want to avoid. Next, notice how Jerry and Monica had a calm conversation with the police. Everyone was very polite. Jerry and Monica told the officers that they didn't know it was against the law to take the cart. They apologized for what they did wrong. They did not argue, and they returned the cart. Monica, what went through your mind when you saw the police coming towards you with the lights and sirens on?
I was scared. I didn't know what was happening.
And how about you, Jerry?
I figured they were going to pass us because I didn't think we were doing anything wrong.
I noticed you both did something very smart. When the police car came near, you stayed where you were. You stayed calm as you talked to the police.
To tell you the truth, I was so scared I felt like running away. But I know that's a bad idea. My mom taught me never run from the police.
Yeah, if you run from the police, they'll think you did something wrong. If you run, they'll have to chase you, and you don't want that.
Important points. You're right about that. Now let's bring the officers into the conversation. Officer Wells, is it common for people to break the law and not even know it?
Yeah, not everybody's aware of what the penal code says, so it is common for people to take action not knowing they're actually violating the law.
If people break laws all the time, why did you stop these young people?
No matter how minor the violation, the law is still the law, and people expect us to take action for it.
Officer Tremmel, if it's against the law to take something that doesn't belong to you, why didn't you arrest Monica and Jerry for stealing?
As officers, we have some leeway. We knew that they were being honest about not knowing that they were stealing. They apologized, returned the cart to the store, and I believe that a warning was good enough.
Officer Wells, what would happen if they did this again?
If they do this again, if we were to catch them doing it a second time, we would know that we've warned them before, and they knew it was against the law. So the second time, we'd take more severe action.
So, Monica and Jerry, did you learn a lesson?
I learned about property and stealing again. It's not gonna happen again.
And I learned that if you stay calm, listen to the police and do what they say, things can go a lot more smoother.
Great. Thank you so much. I can't say it any better than that. Remember what worked for Monica and Jerry to be safe. Number 1, stay calm when the police come near you or talk to you. Number 2, stay where you are even if you feel like running away. And number 3, do everything the police tell you to do. Have you ever met a police officer? Maybe someone in your family is in law enforcement?
So Monica and Jerry did a good job, didn't they? So you notice that I always run the closed captions in English because it's so much easier to hear and see the words, especially when the police talk. Officer Wells talks very fast. Sometimes the police use words you don't really understand, so that's why we have the words showing on the screen. And I also subtitled the movie in Spanish. You don't have a lot of Spanish-speaking people around here, I don't think, but where I live, it's very important for families to be able to watch this together. And I'm bilingual, and I do all of this work in Spanish as well as English. So let's see how much attention you were paying. Who remembers the 3 do's for interacting with the police that worked for Monica and Jerry? What was the first thing that Monica and Jerry did that worked? Does anyone remember what the first one was? Yes, what was your name?
When they were walking by, they just stopped.
Okay, so it was stay calm, right? Be calm, stay where you are. Let's see. Second one is stay where you are. The first one is stay calm, and the second one is stay where you are. And what was the third thing that worked for Monica and Jerry? Remember what it was? Yes, Freddie.
Doing everything that the police said to do.
Do what the police tell you to do. So stay calm, stay where you are, and do what the police tell you to do. So we see that video modeling helps people remember these important messages. So now we're going to have your own chance to interact with the police who are here, including our officers at the back are going to come down to the front now. And Kay and Chris are going to come up and help us with this game. So what the game is you're going to have a chance to ask the police for help. So Chris is going to roll the dice, and we're going to call out the type of help you're supposed to ask. So I'm going to do a demo first, so before Chris rolls the dice. Heidi, would you do the demo with me, modeling asking for help? We're going to do this one. I'm going to pretend to be the police, and Heidi's going to pretend that this is the kind of help she needs. So here's what she's going to say.
I hear screams from my neighbor's house.
Okay, tell me, which house is it?
That one.
That one over there? Okay, was it a man or a woman?
I don't know.
Okay, when did this happen?
Just now.
Okay, you stay where you are, and I'm going to go take care of this problem. So this is how we have a chance to ask for help. Thanks, Heidi. And so now Chris is going to roll the dice, and the questions that are there are going to be one of these. So the officers are going to come through and come up to the young people, and we're going to call out which of these situations you need to actually ask for help. So you're not saying, what would you do if you found a wallet? You're going to actually pretend you found a wallet and have the conversation with our officers. So go ahead, Chris, and roll the dice.
Just one?
Just one. And that's a number 2, which is?
I'm locked out.
I'm locked out. Okay, so if the officers would go into the audience and find a young person, and your guys are going to practice pretending that you're locked out, and the officers, you got locked out, and the officer just happens to be walking by. So here you go.
I think you got the wrong one. It's actually that one. That's guy you hit me. I think you got the wrong one. It's the dust guy you hit me.
Oh, you're right. You're right. That was a tape. But that's okay. We'll do that one again another time.
We were. Okay.
There's a little girl there, officer. Did you get that darling little girl? Okay, officers, we're going to try another scenario. So Chris is going to roll the dice again. Go ahead and roll it again. There you go. We're going to try a different scenario, so you can switch young people, go to somebody different this time so they get to meet another officer. And it is number 1, which is...
I found that. I found this wallet.
I found this wallet is the situation. So young people in the audience, when your officer comes up, you're going to say, I found this wallet. Let's try it again.
You find a wallet?
Did
you find a wallet?
Did you?
Did you find
Could you ask that one to come down? Hey, Chris. Chris, we can practice with this officer. He's going to come down and see you. Yeah, no, he's going to come down and see Chris. So Chris is going to pretend, Chris, you're going to tell the officer that you found a wallet.
Did you tell your brothers?
What is the number? That's right. You did very good. You want to try for it? Yes. You find a wallet. Thank you very much. All we do is when did you we're going to look in the walls. Go to a computer. Is there any phone number? We'll call you up. Let's say someone calls your wallet. You get a phone call from the police department. This is Fairbanks Police.
So different.
You missing your wallet? Well, you know what the police department is? Yeah, we are 911 Crystal Street. If you come down here, just show who you are.
Okay, thank you, everybody. We're going to wrap it up. Did you enjoy asking for help? Isn't it a great experience getting to know how the police can help you? We'll have a round of applause for our officers. Because that's what we want. We want everyone to feel comfortable asking the police for help and knowing that that's why they have a job. They want to help you, and they know how to help you. So it's great if you do watch Be Safe the movie again, or if you get the curriculum, we have these tools like this game in there to continue to ask for help and to practice those skills. It's so important for someone who might have problems communicating. All right, our next episode is called Uniforms and Safety Tools, and we're going to learn how officers are members of the community, and we're going to learn some boundaries and some limits. Never touch the police or their safety equipment without asking permission, and even if you ask, they might say no, and you have to take no for an answer. So let's see what that looks like. And we'll turn down the lights again.
Maybe you know a police officer from school or your neighborhood. If you don't know any police, you could be confused or scared. You may be wondering about their badges or guns or other safety tools. There is no reason to be afraid of the police. The job of the police is to serve and to protect. These are law enforcement officers at work. There are ways to know if someone is a police officer or sheriff. The police wear special clothes called uniforms. Uniforms can look different in different parts of the state or the country. The uniform an officer wears shows what department he or she is in and what job he or she does. Sometimes the police wear regular clothes if they need to look like everyone else to do their job. Law enforcement officers wear or carry a badge. No matter where it is worn, every officer who is working or on duty has or carries a badge. When you see the badge, you know you are seeing a real police officer. Undercover detectives or plainclothes officers keep their badges hidden when they are doing work, but they can show their badges when they need to. Even if it looks interesting, do not ever reach for or touch an officer's badge. In fact, the best rule to follow is to keep your hands to yourself when you meet the police. Do not touch any of the equipment the police use to do their job. Now, let's look at some of the other safety tools that the police use to do their job. The police carry handcuffs. Handcuffs are used to limit a person's movement. Handcuffs are a tool to keep people safe so no one gets hurt. The police use handcuffs when they have to arrest someone. Sometimes they use handcuffs if someone needs help to calm down. The handcuffs limit the person's movement to keep them from hurting someone. All police officers also carry a gun. You may be able to see the gun in its holster, or it may be hidden. But all police officers carry a gun. The police are trained to use their guns and use them only when necessary. Remember, never try to touch the gun or any other weapon that belongs to a police officer. One last thing about safety tools. Some police work with specially trained dogs called canine partners or police dogs. The human police officer and his police dog are called a canine unit. Canine partners help the police do their job. Police dogs are working animals, so remember, it is not okay to touch or play with police dogs when they are working. If a dog looks like it's not working, always ask first before petting or touching. If you're afraid of dogs and you see a police dog in the community, don't worry. The police will handle the animal. Canine partners won't bother people who are minding their own business. So now you know about different kinds of law enforcement professionals and the jobs that they do. No matter what their uniform looks like or what department they're in, they all have one thing in common: to protect people and to make sure that everyone follows the laws. Now let's look at a casual encounter between the police and some young people.
Good afternoon, officer.
Good afternoon, fellas.
Hey guys, how's it going?
Good.
Come on, fellas.
We're good, very good. Got a couple future officers here, huh? And alright, have a good one.
Alright, enjoy your lunch there.
Alright, take it easy.
Medium. Hey, I'm doing pretty good. Oh no, I'm afraid of that dog.
The dog's not
I love dogs. I want to go over there and pet that dog.
Okay, go.
Why?
The dog is barking at me, need to do the law.
It's not working. It's rusty.
My uncle is part of the canine unit, and he told me never to touch or play with the dog when it's with its police department.
Okay, then I won't touch it.
These two young men just had a friendly encounter with two police officers. Notice how they weren't afraid of the officers. They had no reason to be. The police are a part of this community and are proud of the relationships between people like you and me. Did you notice that these officers are in full uniform? They are wearing their badges like other peace officers do. They also carried their handcuffs and guns in case they needed to respond to a dangerous situation. But there was nothing dangerous about this meeting. The young men did the right thing. They were polite and they did not concern themselves with the police weapons or business. Let's learn more about this situation by talking with the young people and officers involved. Joe, what were you thinking when you saw the police officers come into the restaurant?
People with uniforms usually make me feel a little edgy, so and I noticed that the cops are very calm and friendly, so I'd be calm and friendly back.
I hear you have an interest in guns.
Yes, guns are a hobby of mine. Rather resist any urge to touch or even talk about police guns.
Officer Trammell, do you think that some people are nervous around the police?
Sure, I think it is because it could be because of the movies they see, but they just got to remember that we're here to keep them safe, make sure people are obeying the laws, so there's nothing to be nervous about.
Officer Mears, Joe said he was interested in your gun, but resisted the urge to touch it.
Most people are fascinated by our tools and our duty belt. The number one rule, though, is not to touch any weapons or any tools on our duty belts, and especially our person. But we're very approachable when it comes to talking about our tools.
Young lady, what's your name?
Kim.
Tell me what you were thinking when you saw the police dog.
To tell you the truth, I am afraid of dogs. We were in such a small area with it that I wasn't sure what was going to happen.
Now, Brett, you had the opposite reaction. What were you thinking when you saw the police dog?
Well, I have a lab back at home, so I wanted to pet this one.
Now let's hear from the Canine Unit Officer. You're Officer Martinez.
Yes.
And your canine partner?
Harley.
How long have you and Harley been partners?
Just over 2 years.
What are some of the different ways that dogs help police do their jobs?
Well, dogs are an additional tool to law enforcement, and some of the ways that they can help is by locating and apprehending suspects, as well as victims or missing people that we might be looking for. They also search for drugs, and they can search for cell phones and anything else that we might need to help find.
What kind of work does Harley do with you?
Harley strictly sniffs for narcotics.
Can you tell us why people shouldn't touch working animals?
Because you never know if a working animal or a police service dog is doing their job, so you always must make sure that you do not pet them.
Everybody loves that Harley. Harley's one cute dog. Look at that face. You can clap for Harley. So now we have a really fun activity, and we're going to have Chief Keith Mallard of the University of Alaska Fairbanks Police and Officer Steve Getz, and they're going to stand over here, and they're going to model their uniforms for you and tell you all about the tools on their duty belts. So here you go.
Thank you. So this is going to be my model because he's the better looking of the two of us. So what we're going to do is we're going to work our way around his duty belt, and we'll talk about the different tools that are on his duty belt, and we'll also talk about his uniform. So first we'll go with the duty belt. So starting here is his pepper spray. That's used in situations where we need to create a safe environment, and we utilize pepper spray sometimes when people are violent, but the amount of force needed to gain control of them would simply be the pepper spray. Next on his belt is his firearm, his handgun. And as it said in the video, never touch anything on an officer's belt, especially his handgun. And then the next thing in behind here is his ASP baton. It's an expandable baton. I think in my experience that's mainly been used to knock on doors more than anything, but it's also one of those less lethal pieces of force. Then next is his radio. This is how we talk to each other when we're all spread apart or we're searching for somebody. And in this radio, we can also talk to other police departments oftentimes. And then next is the handcuffs, which whoever wants to later will get to see close up. His cuffs are a hinged cuff, which is different than another type of handcuff like you see in the picture. It's a chain cuff. And oh, there you go. And does he have pink cuffs? No. And then next on his belt, as soon as he gets those handcuffs put away.
Investigator must not get him out much anymore. I got him out fine.
He's got to pull it out so I can see what it is. Oh, it's his taser. So if you want to go ahead and release the cartridge and let everybody hear what that sounds like. So again, that's a way to gain control of somebody in a way that creates a safe environment for everybody involved.
How many volts are in your taser? Just real quick.
I think there's 3 left. No, 50,000.
50,000 volts.
Yes. Then next on his belt is a key ring. And on that particular key ring is a whole bunch of keys for the university. We can access just about anywhere. And then he's got additional ammunition for his handgun. So on him, now we'll move up to his protective vest. So on his vest, so this is bullet resistant, so that helps protect him against someone was to fire a handgun at him. And then on his vest also we have a body-worn video camera. And it's recording you all right now. And that helps for evidentiary purposes as well as just creating a safe environment both for the officer and other individuals. So you see the uniform. On his uniform also is a fabric badge. And so on my uniform you'll see a metal badge. And then he's got, you can see the difference in the pockets. He's got cargo pockets to hold stuff and carry stuff. Yeah, I thought you were going to pull out something magic. And then his boots or shoes. And so on mine, you can see my uniform slightly different. It's a uniform top. I have my vest underneath. I have a different pair of pants. I don't have the readily apparent cargo pants, but I do have magic zippers that secret pockets. And I don't have anything in my secret pockets. And then I'm wearing a pair of boots. Oh, and I forgot the hat. So he's wearing a hat. And then I'll turn the floor over to Lieutenant Jukes, who can talk about the difference in Fairbanks Police Department uniform.
Great.
All right. Luckily for everybody, Fairbanks, at least between UAF and Fairbanks, they're very much similar. Of course, some of the people that sell Alaska State Troopers are a little bit different in the color, but as you can see, the color is probably the same. LAPD blue. LAPD has a lot of cops. They order a lot of uniforms, and so that's a pretty standard color. We have both external and internal vests. Sergeant Lockwood has his body armor, what we call body armor, underneath his shirt. Officer Duncan has his over the top. Otherwise, the equipment is all virtually the same type of handgun, handcuffs, baton, pepper spray. The only thing that most of the time, if you're dealing with an officer, we have some type of pocket knife that we can use to cut things, sometimes a Leatherman tool, multi-tool, things like that. The difference that we will have sometimes, and I'm sure the university has them as well, is we have some high visibility clothing. So we have an officer that walks downtown, rides a bike, he has a bright yellow shirt that he wears. We have jackets that are bright yellow and reflective. So sometimes we're not wearing dark colors, we're wearing very bright colors. We still have some in shorts. So it just depends. So you might see us in all different uniforms. It might be anywhere from very dark. We have camouflage gear that we'll wear on SWAT team type operations. And it goes from that camouflage or where you don't want to be seen all the way to neon yellow, so everybody knows exactly who we are and it'll say police on the back. But otherwise, beyond the uniform, the other thing is virtually everyone will at least have their last name on it. So you'll know when you show up. When we show up, you'll know who we are. We don't typically get offended whether it's Sergeant Lockwood. If you call him Officer Lockwood, if you call me Officer Jukes, that's fine. I'm much more informal. I'll introduce myself as Eric to most people as long as you're nice to me. So it doesn't really matter what the title is. You'll see our name, so at least you can pronounce, or you can call us by name. That's usually pretty nice.
Okay. Now Tanya's going to take the microphone and go out into the audience for any of our young people who have questions about the equipment or the uniform. So who has a question for any of our officers about the equipment or the uniform? Anybody have a question? Yeah, there's one. Go head up.
What's the difference between a lieutenant's tools and a sergeant's?
What was the question?
What's the difference between a lieutenant's tools and a sergeant's?
The difference between a lieutenant's tools and a sergeant's.
The only difference you'll ever see in the uniform, you'll see he has these stripes on his sleeve, and little sergeant. Oh, you don't have them on your collar. And I have little bars on my collar. Other than that, our badge, mine says lieutenant, his says sergeant. Otherwise, they're the exact same. Each officer is allowed to carry things a little bit differently. So we're about the same. But some people, like this officer has his handcuffs in the back. All of us, it looks like it's the same. They're in the front, and so we can kind of put them in different places just depending on your preference and what you like to do. And so every sergeant, every officer might be a little bit different, but it'd be hard for most people to tell the difference.
Who else has a question? You have any questions, Freddie? No? You're good? Anybody else have questions for our officers? Does anyone want to know about dogs? Anyone have a question about dogs? Anyone want to ask?
Chief Mallard and I handled police canines for a very long time in our career, so we're very well versed with dogs. And I have my daughter here is tonight. She's had a police dog in her house her entire life, so if you have police dog questions, we can entertain that too.
Chris has a question.
Would it be interesting if you have a weighted dog as a police dog?
I didn't understand.
Sorry, repeat that?
Would it be interesting if you have a weighted green dog as well?
It would be. We've had all kinds of these dogs. I'm pretty sure that Skippy right now is a new trooper shepherd, and he's pretty white and got some blacking markings on. He almost looks identical to a wolf.
Wow.
I've actually teased Trooper Rollo that he has the state trooper police wolf, or police instead of just he looks like an Alaskan wolf. But they're all different colors. We've had solid black dogs. There's brown dogs, yellow dogs, but they come in all different colors. But yours would be very interesting.
We can take a couple questions from the adults in the audience, as long as they're about equipment and uniforms.
About the dogs, how do you know when the dogs are working or when the dogs are not working?
I would say anytime they are with their handler, whether he's in uniform. We have some dogs that work in the undercover drug unit, so they're going to be dressed just like everybody else in the audience. But if the dog is with their handler or officer, they can always be assumed to be on duty.
On duty dogs.
Very approachable, and if you simply ask, we do a lot of school functions, if you simply ask, may I pet your dog or say hi to your dog, it'll be up to the handler. But if they're with their handler, they're working.
Chris has one more, and then Pamela has one.
Well, would it be nice if we call a gray dog is in a white the dog crypto?
It would be kind of like the cryptic camouflage here that's made in Fairbanks. That'd be cool too. I saw someone wearing a cryptic jacket.
You want to make her over there?
No, I don't need mine.
Oh, what's your question, Pamela?
How long does it take to train a dog?
Excellent question. So if you're going to, typically we talk about 10 weeks, and that's a dual purpose dog. So that's training them to do just the patrol functions as well as narcotics detection. So that typically takes 10 weeks, averaging about 16-hour days, 6, sometimes 7 days a week.
Mm-hmm. Well, thank you so much. A big round of applause for our officers. So, how are you enjoying it so far? You guys like and be safe? Okay, we have could I have all my volunteers up, my class volunteers to come up? We do have a little quiz. We're going to ask you to take a questionnaire to help us do a really good job for you. So they're going to pass out these questionnaires. And would you mind getting the pencils from Steve? Bringing some pencils. And I'm going to read the questions so we can all do it together in case that's an easier way for some of you to take our survey. So the first thing we need you to do when you get your survey is to put your name or your initials on it. We just want to know that we had one from everybody, so if you wouldn't mind putting your name or your initials on it. And you're going to let us know if you're a parent of somebody with disabilities, or you're staff, or you're a person with autism. You can mark it down. If you have a different disability, or if you're a first responder, or if you're somebody else that I can't think of, but you can. So first you're going to let us know who you are. And the first question is, it's not exactly a question, it says, please tell us something you really liked about today's event so far. We're not done yet, but we just want to know so far, what is something that you really liked about being here at our Be Safe interactive screening? Michelle's coming around with pencils if anybody else needs one. Something that you really like so far. They have those handy little tables there that you can pull up a table or use your armrest. Very lovely venue that the university gave us to do our event. The next question is, how much did you learn? And you can circle nothing at all, a few new things, or a lot of new things. Let us know how much you learned. Question 3 is, how useful is this information? Is it not useful at all, useful, or very useful? Please let us know. Question 4 is, how likely would you be to tell other people about Be Safe or recommend this program to other people? People who aren't here tonight, would you be willing or likely to tell people about it? Not likely at all, likely, or very likely? And our last question is, what could we do to improve this Be Safe event? Because we always want to do better, and we'd love to hear from you if you have some good suggestions for us. And when you're finished, you can just hold up your paper and pencil, and our volunteers will be back around to collect them. Oh, if you have any other comments to add, please write them on the back of the paper. We'd love to hear any other comments you might have. And you could always send your comments to me via email. I'd be happy to speak with anybody who's here tonight. Yes?
I've seen handouts, little cards that persons with ASD can carry with them, and that it seemed to be an excellent idea. And they could hand that instead of trying to vocalize or verbalize that.
The gentleman commented that some people have a card that says, I have autism, and they can hand it over. Well, I gave my son that card. And then, when he met a policeman, he went to get it out of his pocket. And what do you think the policeman thought he was reaching for? Not a card. The policeman thought he was reaching for a weapon. So I have a whole episode of Be Safe, which is how to tell the police about your disability, and we talk about all different ways of doing it. And in the curriculum, we have the templates for the cards, we have resources where to get the jewelry. It's so important to tell the police in a safe way about your disability that I agree with you completely. We made an entire episode of the movie, an entire lesson of the curriculum just about that topic. So important. And we'll be talking a little bit more about that. But right now we're on episode 4, so if you think it's been fun so far, it's going to get even funner. And we're going to see an arrest procedure, and then some of the audience is going to get to try out getting arrested. So let's have a look at it. This is mistaken identity.
Maybe you've seen people get arrested on TV shows or on the news. You will probably spend your entire life without ever getting arrested, but just in case, it's important to know what getting arrested means, and it's important to know all the steps in the arrest process, so that way you can be safe. The police can arrest someone who commits a crime. The word arrest means to stop. The police arrest someone to stop them from what they're doing because it is against the law. A person who is arrested is under arrest. The police have a good reason to arrest someone. The person under arrest is called a suspect because the police believe or suspect that this person has committed a crime. Other times, the police see someone breaking the law and they step in to control the situation. The person who is arrested is charged with a crime. He is told what law he broke and why he is under arrest. Later, the police investigate to make sure that they have the right person. Many times, the police arrest the right person. Sometimes, a mistake is made and the wrong person is under arrest. When the facts become clear, the innocent person is allowed to go and is no longer under arrest. Let's look at each step in the arrest process so you can be safe in this kind of situation. Even if the arrest is a mistake, follow all the steps to stay calm. You can clear up the confusion later. What is the first thing that happens in an arrest? The police tell you to stop. They might say, stop where you are. They might tell you to stand in a certain place, and that is what you should do. The police always want to be able to see your hands. They need to be sure you don't have a gun, a knife, or other weapon. The police may tell you to put your hands in the air. They often say, interlace your fingers and put your hands on your head. Always do what the police tell you. Keep your hands where the police can see them, not in a pocket or other hidden place. Next, the police will do a pat down. They will touch your arms, legs, and torso to be sure you don't have a gun, a knife, or other weapon hidden under your clothes. Be patient and hold still. If you are being arrested, the police will put handcuffs on you. They take one arm at a time and put the metal cuff on your wrist behind your back. This can feel very strange. Be patient and cooperate. Next, the police will take your wallet to check your identification. The police always check your ID to make sure that you are not wanted for another crime. Be patient and wait. Finally, the police will help you get into the police car. It could feel weird to do that with your hands behind your back in handcuffs. The police will push down the top of your head as you get into the car so you don't hit your head on the doorway. They will close the door and drive to the police station. While you are in the car, sit quietly and be patient. Later, you can ask for a lawyer before you talk to the police about what happened. You will probably spend your whole life without ever getting arrested. But just in case you do, follow all the police instructions so you can be safe. Now, let's take a look at a case of a mistaken identity.
Everybody get down, this is Robert. Put the money in the back. Okay, put the money in the bank. Zip it up. Somebody call 911? I think you got away on a skateboard. I need to report a robbery. The guy's got a gun. Yeah, we're at the mini mart at the corner of Robbins and Grant. He has a ski mask on, a dark shirt, and blue jeans. Yeah, I can see his hands. He was white. I don't know, maybe in his early 20s? Tell me he got away on a skateboard. Oh, he got away on a skateboard. He's going down the street. Put your hands up. Drop your backpack. Put your hands above your head. Interlace your fingers. Put your hand in the back of your head. Stand up. Move your left. Switch legs. Get any weapons on you? No. No ID on you? Back pocket. Where you coming from, man? School. I'm trying to head home. What's this all about? I'm sitting on the curb. I'll let you know. Keep your feet straight out. Cross your ankles. We got a report of a robbery in you match the description of the suspect we're looking for.
Robbery? I didn't rob anybody. I'm just trying to head home.
Okay. Well, right now, all of you got the description. So let us do our job. Figure this out. We'll get to the bottom of it. If it's not you, we'll have you in the way. All right?
All right.
All right, stand up. Back on the curve. Apparently, you're not the person we're looking for, all right? Appreciate your cooperation. Unfortunately, you just happen to look like the wrong person today.
It's all right.
How far here? Got your ID? Appreciate cooperation.
Thank you.
Yeah.
This was a case of a mistaken identity. The police officers heard the description of the robber and needed to find someone who matched it. Vaughn matched the description of the robber. The police needed to investigate. Did you notice how the officers immediately had their guns out? They thought that they found the robber. They knew the robber had a gun. They had to have their own guns ready. Fortunately, there was no need for guns. What did the police do? First, they told Vaughn to stop. Officer Wells told Vaughn to put his hands up. Vaughn was told to interlace his fingers and put his hands on his head, which he did. Next, Officer Wells put handcuffs on Vaughn. He took one of Vaughn's hands at a time and put them behind his back. Then Officer Wells did a pat-down to search for weapons. Officer Mears checked the backpack to see if Vaughn had the stolen money. Then he took Vaughn's ID to the police car. The police checked the ID to make sure that the person is not wanted for another crime. Even though the police had the wrong guy, Vaughn handled himself very well. He didn't run away when the police arrived. They told him to raise his hands and stand up. He followed their instructions. He also moved slowly so the police could see he was cooperating. Now, let's talk to Vaughn and the other officers to learn more about this situation. Welcome, Vaughn. What were you thinking when you saw the police car coming towards you with its lights and sirens on?
I thought they were just going to roll right past me. I didn't do anything wrong.
So, what did you think when the officers got out of the car with their guns drawn?
It was really scary. I didn't know how to react. I just followed directions. Figured it was the best thing to do.
You look like the suspect the police were trying to find. Even though they had the wrong guy, you handled the situation very well. How did you stay so calm?
I've watched a lot of TV of people getting arrested, and I've seen all the bad ways things can turn out if you don't follow directions. So I just did what they said.
I noticed you followed directions very well. Now let's hear from the police. Can you explain why you and Officer Wells had your guns drawn when you came out of the police car?
The description we were given was a suspect with a gun. We believed at that point that our suspect may still be armed, and anytime we believe a suspect is armed, we're going to treat him as though he's armed until we confirm he's not.
Can you explain some of the procedures that the police follow in a situation like this, and why?
Well, first we need to make sure that the suspect doesn't have a gun or any type of weapon. The main focus for us to go home, be able to keep things safe for our families. And we actually have to confirm the crime. Once we get able to comply with our verbal commands, we do a pat-down search of them, search for weapons. Then we handcuff them and finish our search.
Why did you take Vaughn's ID to the police car?
Take it to the patrol car to run, make sure he's not wanted for any other crime.
Even though this was a case of mistaken identity, what were some of the things that Vaughn did right?
Vaughn was cooperative with us. He remained calm. He followed our demands. He didn't fight with us. As long as somebody stays calm and cooperates, if they're not the person we're looking for, this will all be over in a few minutes and they'll be on their way. Yeah, he was a good model of the right way to react when contacted by the police.
What were you thinking when you didn't find any evidence of the crime, like the gun or the money?
I was thinking that he wasn't involved with the crime. They had the wrong person.
Thank you, everyone. Vaughn's story is a recipe for success when you interact with the police. Whether you have done something wrong or not, remember what worked for Vaughn. 1. Stay calm when the police approach you or talk to you. 2. Stay where you are, even if you feel like running away. 3. Do exactly what the police tell you to do. You also need to remember 3 important don'ts. 1. Don't run. 2. Don't fight. 3. Don't argue. Easy to remember, easy to follow. These rules will help you be safe. Hopefully you will never get arrested, but if you can remember what Vaughn did, you can be safe when you interact with the police in that situation.
When the police tell you to do something, just do it.
Did anybody notice what kind of shoes Vaughn is wearing? He's wearing Nike shoes. I bought him for him just for this. He was very happy to get to keep those nice shoes. Because he's actually a competitive skateboarder. He's not an individual with disabilities, but we needed someone who could skate. So we rounded him up in Bakersfield, California, and he was happy to get a new pair of shoes. So very interesting what an arrest procedure looks like, right? And what the police have to say is kind of complicated, so it's good to be able to watch this scene over and over, see the language they use, understand how they think, understand what they expect. And some people said to me, well, you know, Vaughn was very calm. Most people wouldn't be that calm in an arrest. And I said, well, I want to model calm. I don't want to model all the other ways someone can do this. We want to model the best way. So our next activity is to reenact. Someone gets to be Vaughn, and we have 2 officers here We're going to pretend to arrest Vaughn. So who would like to play Vaughn? Anybody would like to volunteer to be Vaughn? Yes? Great. We'll call you Vana.
Vana.
Come on up, Vana. So you are going to be sitting on the bus stop over here. We'll move this over here. There you go. There you go. And we have, who are our two police who are going to do this? Okay, it's Lieutenant Jukes. Okay, awesome. Schumacher. Lockwood. Okay. Schumacher. All right, so Heidi's going to come up and talk about the tools we're going to use for this simulation. Oh, and you should get Vana's real name.
Vana, what's your real name? Tegan. Okay. AKA. All right, so as Emily mentioned and the video mentioned, officers are not able to, or they're not allowed to pull their guns unless they intend to use them. So for this demonstration, this is a rubber pistol. Pistol? Okay, my husband would be proud. And it's orange so that nobody confuses it and thinks that it might be a real, if it were black, we might think that it was real. So it's orange and it's rubber, and we're going to ask the officers to use these in their reenactment so that we know that they are not using their weapons, they are using a demonstration.
Okay, action.
We go through basically the same
Exactly
scenario.
the same thing, like so, just like when they got out of the car.
She's our bank robber suspect.
This is your suspect.
You are possibly armed. You got it?
Yeah.
All right. I got the suspect ahead of me.
Director and all.
All right.
And I'll take her. I'll grab her.
Tegan, let me see your hands. Hands up. Get out of the chair, please. Okay, keep your hands where I can see them. Face away from me, okay? Now back up towards the sound of my voice. Nice and slow. Keep your hands up. Keep your hands up. Keep your hands up.
I have a holster left, so.
Yeah, stop. Sidestep to your left if you can. Can you sidestep? There you go. Good job. Now stop. Don't move whatsoever. You understand? Go ahead.
All right. Bring your other hand. Give it to me right there. I'm going to hold on to these. All right.
And again, now that she would be
We'll
safely...
scoot over here so we can see.
I would holster my gun, but since we have that, and we'll demonstrate us.
Do you have any guns in here?
Are you sure? That's what we always do. We're taught that in Alaska. We tend to ask. We want to know ahead of time. Do you have anything on you that's going to cut me, poke me, hurt me? It can be as generic as a broken piece of glass in their pocket, anything sharp. We don't want to go into pockets, but we are definitely asked, do you have any, in this case, if it's an armed robbery suspect with a gun, do you have a gun on you? Do you have any weapons I need to be aware about? And we're going to ask those questions simultaneous while we're kind of just patting down, make sure there's nothing that's going to hurt us. And so obviously she does not have, she is not the droid we're looking for.
Right. So we would let her go. I bet she has small enough hands. Can you put your hand right over there? There you go.
No keys needed.
Yeah.
And another typical verbiage that we use a lot of times in, just because you get placed in handcuffs doesn't mean you're under arrest. There's a lot of times we show up where things are kind of chaotic. Well, we're sorting out what happened in this case and like the mistaken identity. You need to sort it out. You need to get all the pieces of the puzzle together before you make a decision. But the handcuffs on, we tell people that all the time. Hey, listen, Tegan, you're not under arrest. You're just being put in handcuffs, okay? I need to detain you until the investigation kind of finishes up. They come off just as easy as they went on. And that's something we often say over and over again. In the case with Vaughn there, they did. They came off just as easy. And we tell them usually thanks for their cooperation and patience, any questions, and they go on their way. But good job.
Well, that was a great demonstration. And It's so helpful to get to practice something like that and be able to follow all the steps. And did you notice that the way these officers did it and the way they did it in Bakersfield were different? Like they had Tegan back up towards their voice. That wasn't how they did it here. So the idea is that you need to find out how things are done in your community, and that's what we teach our young people so that they know how it's done here. And in fact, in the next scene that I'm going to show you, I have one more scene to show you unless you're too tired. You guys want to see one more? One more. Okay, one more. And we're going to see an LAPD officer, and she does things a little bit differently, so you'll get to see that too. Oh. Before I show you that, I wanted to bring up one more point. In my curriculum, I wrote a bunch of materials to help people process what's going on with the police. And I have a social story called "The Police Need to Touch Me If I'm Arrested." Sometimes I'm sensitive to touch. Sometimes I don't like it when other people touch me. Even if someone touches me on my arms or my hands, it can bother me. Most of the time, I can avoid having people touch my arms or hands. The police have to touch people's arms or hands when they do their job. That's a fact that everyone has to accept. I will accept that the police might have to touch my arms or my hands when they do their job. And actually, this isn't a social story because Carol Gray does not allow you to tell people what they're going to do. And I have to tell people what they're going to do. It's not optional to cooperate with the police. So this is actually an example of a Be Safe story. And for every episode of the movie, I have a Be Safe story so that people know and accept and practice and plan for the rules that they will follow to be safe. So I have two options here. We can either see the self-disclosure one, or we can see crime doesn't pay. I think we'll do the self-disclosure one because crime doesn't pay is somebody who did something wrong and gets arrested. We've already seen an arrest. So we're going to see self-disclosure about how to tell the police about your disability.
Do you know what self-disclosure means? Self-disclosure means sharing important information about yourself with others. Maybe you have a disability like autism, Asperger's, ADHD, Tourette's, or obsessive compulsive disorder. Maybe you have seizures, cerebral palsy, or Down syndrome, or traumatic brain injury. It can be a good idea to tell people about it in certain situations. The best reason to tell someone about your disability is to help others understand you. Self-disclosure is usually necessary to get the kind of help you need. When you are younger than age 18, your parents decide who needs to know about your disability or condition. Once you turn 18, the decision is up to you. It's usually a good idea to let the police know about your disability when you are interacting with them. The information helps the police understand you better. They can use accommodations like speaking more slowly, waiting, or giving one instruction at a time, if they know that this is the kind of help you need. How can you tell the police about your disability or condition? There are several options. One is to wear a medical alert tag. The police are trained to check for medical alert tags. This may be the easiest and quickest way to let the police know about your condition and your needs. The medical alert tag does the talking for you, so you don't have to explain so much. Another option is to carry an information card that describes your condition and how to help you. You can tell the police officer that you have a disability. Then, ask permission to get the card out of your pocket or purse and give it to them. You can also keep a disclosure card with your driver's license or state ID. You can give both cards to the officer when you are asked to show your ID. The last option is to explain your disability to the police. While you stay calm and do what the police say, you can say something like, I have a disability. You can be more specific and say, I have autism or I have OCD. The police may ask you what that means or what kind of help you need. Now, let's take a look at a scene in which a young lady explains her condition to the police.
can you do me a favor? Keep your hands on the steering wheel at the center. Are you okay? You on drugs or something?
No, I just took vitamins today.
Can you get your driver's license for me?
I have autism spasm disorder. Would you like to see my information card?
Yeah, can you get that and your license, please? What's the bracelet?
My medical alert tag. It lets people know what I have in my system, disabilities and abilities and mental condition.
What exactly does it say? I have autism. That's good enough. Okay, what I need you to do is stay in the vehicle, keep your hands on the steering wheel, do not get out.
My what?
Your vehicle, your car, stay in the car.
Okay.
I'll be right back. Something up with this girl, she's acting weird. Seems like she's almost like on drugs. She had to take some vitamins today. I told her to stay in her vehicle, she didn't even know what the word vehicle meant. She gave me this card that says she has some disability about autism spectrum disorder. The medical bracelet said the same thing. Have you ever heard of it?
Yeah, I've heard of it. My nephew's got autism spectrum disorder, but we call it ASD. They have trouble doing some normal things like communicating and stuff like that, but ASD affects social communication situations can be hard for them.
Well, if she has a disability, she's supposed to be driving?
Yeah, I mean, some of them are high function. They can do pretty much anything you and I can do. They just have trouble with social skills. And people with ASD avoid eye contact or look away when people talk to them, but they're still listening.
That's exactly what happened. She seemed to understand most of what I was saying, but she wasn't looking at me. It says that people with ASD have problems communicating, especially when, well, stressed out, and that was happening too.
Yeah, we can probably help her by slowing down a little bit and trying to look directly at her and communicate. I know stuff like that helps my nephew out. Why don't you go ahead and run her and let's see what you have to say.
That. Here's your license back. Thanks for explaining your ASD. It's going to help me do my job a lot better. Unfortunately, I'm still going to have to give you a ticket. You're going 15 miles an hour over the speed limit. What I'm going to have you do here is sign this ticket. It's basically not a admission of guilt, just saying you're going to show up at this time, this date, take care of your ticket. Understand?
Yes, sir. Thanks for explaining.
It's in the big box right there.
Thanks for explaining, sir.
I'll be back to the ticket.
Every driver dreads getting a ticket, but sometimes it happens. In this case, the police officer was a bit confused by Melanie's behavior. It seemed unusual. Fortunately, Melanie provided information to the police, and this improved the situation. As you can see, it's a good idea to figure out the kind of help you might need before any kind of police encounter takes place. If you tell them, the police will try to accommodate your disability if they can. If you don't tell, the police have no way of knowing about your condition or the kind of help you need. Now, let's talk to Officer Mears and Melanie to find out what they were thinking in this situation. Officer Mears, do you think it's a good idea for people with ASD or other disabilities to disclose?
I definitely do. The situation with Melanie shows that self-disclosure helps us with our job. The card she gave me helped me understand maybe some of the disabilities and some of the symptoms she was showing when I walked up to the vehicle. Without the information she gave me, I might have thought she was on drugs or under the influence of alcohol.
Officer Mears, how did it help you to do your job better when you found out that Melanie has ASD?
When I read the information on the card, it made my job a lot easier and I was able to interact with her more effectively. I was willing to be more patient, speak slowly so she could understand me and follow my directions. I slowed down and gave her one instruction at a time.
Did those things help you, Melanie?
Yeah, I was nervous the whole time. This isn't the first time since someone thought I was on drugs when I had trouble answering questions. It was very hard for police because he was talking too fast and wasn't patient with me. But when he slowed down, I understood better.
Officer Mears, should people expect special treatment if they disclose a disability?
No, everybody's treated the same. If I let her go, I'd be showing favoritism towards people with autism. Melanie still got a ticket because she was speeding, and the law applies to everybody.
Then why should someone with a disability bother self-disclosing?
The more information we have, the better we can do our job. It was helpful for me to know about her condition, keep her calm, and do my job better.
Melanie, I noticed you're also wearing a medical alert tag on your left wrist.
Yes, this medical alert tag is easy to let the police know of my condition. The medical alert tag explains a lot of information that's talking for me, but I don't have to explain that much. When I wear this medical alert tag on my left wrist, the police can see it while I put my hand on the wheel while I drive.
Good to know. Thank you all so much for sharing your stories. Melanie's situation shows us that the police can understand you better when they know about a condition or disability you may have. If it is reasonable, they can do things a little differently to accommodate your needs. Are you ready to tell the police about your condition and the kind of help you need? It is a good idea to decide what to tell and practice saying it. A medical alert bracelet or an ID makes self-disclosure a lot easier. Remember, always ask first before reaching into a pocket or bag to get your card to show the police. Finally, remember that having a disability is not an excuse or free pass to do something wrong. If you break the law, you will not get special treatment from the police. So it's always a good idea to be safe and follow the law.
So when it comes to self-disclosure, we have an activity in the curriculum, What to Know About Me, and it's a worksheet that parents and teachers can use with their young people to decide what does the police need to know about me. And this whole episode was inspired by a friend of mine who is a 22-year-old guy who drives, and he has autism, and he also has brain lesions, so he has a terrible sense of balance. And he has a very hard time, like Melanie, having a conversation and answering questions. So this poor guy, he was speeding and he got pulled over, and he is very unclear when he speaks. So the police said to him, "Did you take drugs today?" And he said yes, because he took vitamins and he buys vitamins at a drugstore, so he considered them drugs. So he told the police, "Yes, I took drugs." So they said, "Get out of the car. We need you to take a field sobriety test. You need to walk this line." Well, the guy has brain lesions and a terrible sense of balance, so he failed the field sobriety test. So they said, "Get out of the car, you're coming with us," and he went to jail. But he didn't say, "I have autism and brain lesions, and that's why," he didn't tell anybody anything. So the night gets later and later, and his mother's home like, "Where is he? Why didn't he come home tonight?" He never told the police about his disability, and because he was over 18, he just sat in jail. And his mother didn't have any idea what happened to him, so she started calling the hospitals, she started calling the police station, and finally she found the right police station that had him, and she was able to come down and explain. But this is the situation we want to avoid, and that's what this entire episode is about, how we are going to help our young people learn to communicate about their disability. And wasn't Melanie an interesting girl? No wonder the police were a little confused. And, she's a real actress with disabilities. Medical IDs save lives, but they don't have to be those horrible metal ones. There's lots of options now. There's Velcro ones, there's chewable ones, there's rubber ones, and so it's really a good option for people, especially people who have trouble communicating or being understood. And I want to tell you about QR code ID. This was invented by somebody who lives in my neighborhood. Aaron and Bruce Wilson have a little boy named Jay, and I used to be his advocate, and he would leave the house, bolt or elope or whatever you want to call it. But he can't talk at all, so he could not ask for help. So his parents invented this QR code, which you can get for $5 a piece and sew it onto somebody's clothes or iron it on, and then somebody comes along with their smartphone, and they scan the QR code with their smartphone, and it gives a live message. "We're out looking for Jay. We're at McBean Parkway. Please call 911. Or if you're at the fair and your person gets separated from you, it says, take him to gate C, or ask the trooper to help, or whatever message, live message you want, shows up when they scan that code. And this is parents inventing a low-cost, low-tech tool because it's so critical that our missing persons get found immediately. I don't know if you know this very scary statistic, but of all the children with autism who disappear from home who are under the age of 12, 91% drown. 91% of children under the age of 12 who elope from home are found drowned. So this is another reason to have a great relationship with your local police, to do all you can to prepare in advance for if someone would go missing or if someone is found, that they get the kind of help they need. So that's a very serious thing, but this is a very serious topic. Safety is a very serious topic, so we have to do everything we can. At my website, besafethemovie.com, I have something called the SNP, and the SNP is the Special Needs Information page, and it's free, and you can fill it out, download it, fill it out, and keep it on hand. So if your loved one with autism or another disability goes missing, you've got their picture, you've got the information how to calm them down, and you can save the police a solid hour of asking questions and gathering information. It's a substitute for a local registry if you don't have a local registry. Do you have Take Me Home, Heidi, yet, or no?
Just the Smart 911.
Oh yeah, you have Smart 911, which Smart 911 is you fill out a form and you submit it to the police, and you're asking to tag your home address and home phone number, so that if an emergency is called in from that address or that phone number, information pops up that the police can see that says, man with autism or nonverbal boy born in 1999. Or whatever the information is that you want the police to have so they understand what they need to know. What would you add to that?
I'm just going to add that you can access that through the borough website. Since we have a borough and lots of law enforcement, it's not our Fairbanks Police Department,
Right.
But our borough website is how you access that. And then Randy reminded me about the state program, the Yellow Dot program, which you can pick up at the state trooper's office. I'm not sure about your other areas. Okay, at the state trooper's office. And it's a yellow dot you can put on your car, and it identifies to law enforcement that there's some type of special circumstance, and to look in the glove box. And in the glove box you keep a yellow pamphlet that has information about the individual that may be in your car that may have some special circumstances. So there's two kind of
excellent tools where you have to build in all these layers and do what we can. I know a woman who wears a medical alert that says, I am the caregiver of a nonverbal man with autism. If anything happens to me, go look for him. Makes sense, doesn't it? So we have to put all these tools in place. So now, just like Melanie, she had a very safe way of showing her card. So the Chief Mallard, right?
That's
is going to come up, and along with our volunteer Michelle, and have our safety promise.
If everyone could just raise your right hand, we're going to say the safety promise, which is right up here after our officer. Would you lead the way?
I promise
I promise
to never put my hands in my pockets,
put my hands in my pockets,
pants, bag, or purse,
pants, bag, or purse,
when I meet the police, unless they tell me to.
Thank you so much. And do you want to comment on why it's going to keep somebody safe?
Oh, why that's important is, as you've seen in a number of the videos, the police officers pay attention to the hands, because if they can see the hands, then they can see if you're holding anything, and particularly with bad guys, if they want to try and hurt the police, they can see the weapon that's in their hand so they can appropriately react.
Okay, wonderful. So, now you've learned about Be Safe. We have our 7 lessons and our 7 episodes, and their laws help us be safe. Law enforcement officers help us be safe. Uniforms and safety tools. Stay calm when you meet the police. Self-disclosure. The right to remain silent, and be safe in a 911 type of emergency. And we have the movie for sale this evening, and we have the teaching edition, which gives you both the movie and the curriculum on CD-ROM. And when you print out the curriculum, it's 300 pages long. And the nice thing about that is you can print only the pages you need and as many copies as you want. So if you're teaching in the classroom and you want to do a particular activity, you can make enough copies for everybody, and you can be very selective because there's lots of options. There's 37 different activities like our Asking for Help game, 110 safety words that people are going to learn, 35 goals for transition. We need to be writing good goals and implementing programs to help our young people learn these things. Do you think any of our kids should graduate from high school or leave their special ed program without knowing these things? But they are, because people aren't writing them as goals. So we have the goals already written for you. 25 community outings to help people learn to be safe, and 30 more resources. Yes, Chris, you had a question?
Actually, let's give a story.
I didn't hear you.
Let's give a story.
Oh, you want to tell a story?
Yeah.
Is it a quick one? Because we're almost done.
I think so.
Okay, a quick story from Chris.
At the Latham High School a long time ago, when I was a teenager, I heard another teen committed suicide after he killed two guys, and when he saw the police showing up, he killed himself.
Chris knows about a very tragic situation about somebody who killed some other people and then committed suicide. And you know what? We want to avoid those kind of problems. We want people here to know that they can go and get help from people and that people care about them in this community, and so that we can avoid those kind of problems. And like I mentioned, the last 2 episodes. But I told you I was going to tell you a story so that you know that everybody can learn from Be Safe. It's the story of Kevin Hosseini. Maybe some of you know him. He's an artist with autism. He's exhibited at the Kremlin in Russia and all over the world. He takes his art. And I know him and his mom, and I asked them when I was still producing Be Safe, could Kevin watch it and let me know what he understands? Because Kevin has very limited verbal skills, and some people think that Kevin doesn't know very much and can't learn very much. So I wanted to know if Be Safe would help him. And he said, after I watched the movie, I learned to stay calm, not to run away or argue. Do what the police officer tells you to do. Whether you do something wrong or not, you still need to stay calm and not run away. I also learned what a badge is and not to pet police dogs, especially when they're working. When a police officer stops me, I need to let him know I have autism. He learned all 7 of the main points of this movie, but here's what's interesting. Did you notice Kevin's artwork? Here's Kevin with an officer, and here's a picture of a police car. Kevin had already been arrested 3 times before he saw Be Safe, and every time he ran. And his mother always said, don't run when you meet the police, and she tried to teach him by talking, but he still didn't understand from his life experience, from being talked to, from explanations. But when he watched Be Safe, he understood all 7 lessons. So please assume competence and assume that people can benefit from this program. And I hope that you enjoyed your evening. We're not quite done yet because we still have to say thank you to everybody, and another big round of applause for our officers, please. I just happened to run into Trooper Munson on the street yesterday, and I said, can I take your picture for my Be Safe course? And there was a trooper's uniform, so you can see that. And our final activity, anybody who needs to leave can leave. Anyone who needs to go see Steve out there to get any materials, you can. And then we're going to have the officers go around different parts of the room. And anyone who wants to can try on the handcuffs. You can try on one, you can try on both, you can try them on in front, or you can try them on behind you. So thank you so much for coming tonight, and enjoy the rest of your evening. Oh yeah, you can also pose for pictures with the officers.
You want it in front? You want them on, or you just want to touch it?
This is the only time you will ever feel those on you. Let me know.
So I was thinking.
We gotta pull them up so she can take a picture.
Okay, put them on pretty loose and see if you can pull your back up. There you go. So normally we go a little tight, so I'll put them on pretty loose.